Hey class, I had a good question on this one. It was asking basically, what exactly am I asking for you guys to do? So for this one, I want to go ahead and walk all the way through it, and we'll look at it and see what I'm asking for, and then I want you to try to replicate it and submit it over. So let's just go ahead and walk all the way through this one. All right, so what I'm looking at is the actions to take is to read and watch these material, okay, which is great. But then, after you read and watch this material, I want you to create something of your own. So if we look at the Google Forms and see, all right, it says write out a Python program using at least two variables in your code. Have fun. All right, and then it'll be shared in the class. In addition to that, what I'm looking at is I'm looking for the comments to be used. If you recall the prior video that I sent out a couple of days ago, I showed you how to make the comments on that. And then once this is all done, just simply save it as your own and then submit it. So let's go ahead and do this. And it can be anything. I'm not looking for anything grandiose, all right? So the first thing we got to do is open up our Python idle. And we can do that by, in Windows, we can open up the Python idle that way, or if you've already attached it to your taskbar, whichever way you want to open that up. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to open up a brand new clean page. So we'll do a file, new file, and this will open up a blank page for us. All right. So here, I'm going to ask that you put in the comments because I want you to get used to putting comments in. Don't be afraid or worry that it's a different color or anything like that, because you can always change the options, configure IDLE, and you can change the background and the font color, etc. So the first thing, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and put this information in. I'm going to go ahead and put in Python course. And this is going to say week 2. And then I'll put in my name. And then I'll put in today's date or when I'm creating this. Today is currently 9/12. All right, that's the first thing I want you to do. Just that'd be fine. Just put that much in there. If you want to add additional comments and stuff, that's cool. But for now, let's just go ahead and just start with the 3 lines of information because I want to know who's doing this and submitting it accordingly. All right, that's the first thing. So then let's look again. So we want to use at least 2 variables in the code. So the code doesn't have to be that crazy. We can create 2 variables, and if you watch the videos, you know that you can make a variable name pretty much by anything. A single character can be a variable, or you can expand upon that and you can make it into a little bit more descriptive. So for the example that I'm going to provide, I'm going to use the variable and call it Matt. All right, so now I have a variable that's the name, and then my value is my name in here as a string, and it's going to be in here. But I need 2. I've asked for 2 variables. So the second variable, let's just say toy. And what is my favorite toy? My favorite toy could be, I don't know, Xbox right now. Now, I have my 2 variables that I've requested, but I've got to display or print them out in such a way to show those 2 variable values. So what I could do is I could say, okay, I want to print, and it could be anything. I could say, hey, and then name. What is your, or let's just say, is your favorite, and then we can say toy. And then I could say the variable toy. right? So here, I basically have created two variables, a name and a toy. I have the values of each. I'm using string in both of them, so I don't have to worry about changing the types. And I'm going to print out a display of, hey, the variable name is your favorite toy, and then I'm going to use that same variable. So I could also do this just to ensure that a question mark is at the end of this. And notice too, I have spaces in here just to give it a little bit more room between the two variables, right? So I got to save it, so I'm going to file save. It's going to prompt me what I'm going to use my file name as. And what I'm looking for is the file name to be like week 2, your name, and by default it's going to be a .py because it's a Python file. All right, so I'm going to save mine in my desktop so I know where it's at, and I'm going to say week 2, my name, and here I can just hit enter, and it's going to save it on the desktop. Now I'd like to run it just to make sure that it actually works. So I'm going to move this aside so they'll see it. I'm going to run module. And it should pop out the sentence that I had on my print function. So here you see, hey Matt, is your favorite toy Xbox? And here it is exactly what I was hoping for. Here's a string with the two variables producing my output as expected. So now that's saved, it actually works. What I'm looking for now is for you guys to, in the Google form, you can add a file. So I want to add a file. And I can upload, select the files from my device. So I'll go to the desktop and I will grab that Python file that I just created, the week 2 with my name on it, and then upload. And what this will do is upload that file into here through the form. All right, that's what I'm looking for. And then of course let me put my name on here, or email rather, and then I'm going to submit. Once I submit it, then it's done. Response has been recorded. Then when I come back and I'm looking at these specific forms, I'll be able to see that you have uploaded and done your Python form, and then we can look at them, because I think it'll be interesting what you guys come up with. So that is a kind of broad run through exactly what I'm looking for the week number 2 assignment, and I hope that helps. The only other thing that I'm thinking about is if by chance you can't save your Python file, then just simply email me your code, because your code is still what I'm looking for. And if you want to, you can just email me the code and see if this is correct. And then we can look at it that way too.